Electrical Design Consideration for Tall Buildings, Part 03. Structural Constraints. It is common to embed electrical conduits into a concrete structure, which creates a special challenge for the structural engineer, especially in high-rise construction. The electrical engineer must consult with the structural engineer to determine the maximum size and concentration of conduits that may be embedded in the slab. The type of slab construction and the thickness of slab will determine the extent to which the conduits can be accommodated. The complex structure of tall buildings usually includes levels with deep transfer beams. The electrical engineer must be familiar with the structural elements, as it is likely that they will cause interferences in routing of services. The structural engineer will usually accommodate limited, minor penetrations through structural elements. However, when these become numerous and large, careful coordination and planning will be required. The structural and electrical engineers must cooperate closely with respect to major vertical and horizontal structural penetrations. It is important that large penetrations and openings are identified early so that they can be designed into the structure. When these elements are identified late in the design process, they usually result in unsatisfactory results and project delays. The height of a structure is determined by the number of floors that the owner or developer decides are necessary to make the building financially successful, together with the floor-to-floor height of each floor. The greater the floor-to-floor height, the greater the cost of construction. The architect's challenge is to limit the floor-to-floor height while maintaining a pleasant environment and aesthetically attractive appearance. At the same time, the architect must work with engineers to ensure that adequate space is provided for routing of services and that the integrity of the structure is maintained. Usually distributed through common public areas above ceilings, the electrical and mechanical services must be carefully coordinated between the electrical and mechanical designers, because the services compete for the same limited space. Factors such as branching services and crossover of these services must be carefully considered. The electrical engineer must know whether the mechanical engineer is using the ceiling space as an air plenum, which limits the types of cables that can be installed in this space, based on their flammability and toxicity rating. High-rise building design requires a mix of talented professionals who are able to work as a homogeneous team that is cooperative, communicative, and willing to compromise to ensure the best solution is delivered to the owner. Rather than working in isolation, the electrical engineer must play an integral role in the design team, coordinating decisions with all the other disciplines.